Hey guys, welcome to Arsenal Fan TV, and this is my review of our 3-0 defeat away from home to Sheffield Wednesday, and that is the first time in 56 years that we have lost by such a margin to lower league opposition. Bitterly disappointing on the night. You would hope in the grand scheme of things though this result doesn't really affect us too much. Going into a difficult game against Swansea at the Liberty Stadium on Saturday doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. Certainly not going into that game holding my head up high and in the confident, swaggy manner that I had going into it before this defeat on Tuesday. So, I mean, it was really poor by Arsenal tonight. That's the bottom line. Defensively, we were shocking. It was one of the most awful, abysmal defensive displays that I've seen since the Sebastian Scolacci and Pascal Segan era. We were that poor defensively. Callum Chambers, really do worry for the guy at this point because he's really not living up to the hype that he came to the club with, especially after so many good performances last season. Really isn't reiterating that this campaign. Mathieu Debuchy at right back, given that he was running to the papers in the summer claiming that he wanted to leave the club if he wasn't getting required game time. He's had a couple of chances this season in the League Cup and in the Champions League most notably. Wenger's clearly put faith in the guy and does hold him in some sort of regard, but he has played abysmally every time he's got a chance at Arsenal this season. I've really got to question what his future is at Arsenal Football Club. The senior players, the likes of Debuchy, Mertesacker, Chambers and Kieran Gibbs were all abysmal tonight, especially in that back line. That is the back line effectively. Going forward a little bit more, Glenn Kamara in the midfield, lining up alongside Matthew Flamini. Kamara being the first real player of note who was a bit of a surprise inclusion. I thought he was decent. Certainly looks like a player for the future. Only 19 years old. Certainly in years to come, I think he's got a lot to offer Arsenal Football Club. Did get caught in possession quite a lot, but he made some really good recovering tackles, and it's hard to judge him on a game like this where the whole team performed so poorly as a unit. Alongside Flamini, those two really didn't help each other out. They looked like people that had only met a couple of hours before the game. They just looked lost alongside each other. Flamini really didn't help him out though. Went forward way too many times, and it just shows that we really do need someone a bit more solid to occupy that defensive midfield role in games like this one. So that was disappointing on that front. Going a little bit more forward, Joel Campbell on the right hand side, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain through the middle, Iwobi on the left and Giroud up top. Giroud was getting absolutely no service throughout the course of this match, but Iwobi, a player that I really wanted to see start this game. I thought he did some good things throughout the course of the match, but again, like Kamara, really hard to judge him in a game like this where everyone played so poorly. Really did look like one of our starlets, a player that I still think is worth all the hype that surrounds him. Does look like a very exciting player and does echo someone like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in a way, who unfortunately Chamberlain himself went off after just about 5 minutes throughout this match. On the right hand side, Joel Campbell. His future is so up in the air at the moment with regards to his future at Arsenal Football Club, and if I'm being honest with you, I don't think he's got a future at the club, and I'll say that with the greatest respect, to be honest. I think a club like Olympiacos is his level. Like I say, with respect to him, he's a player that has a lot to offer a team like that, but at the moment I don't think he's at the level required to play for Arsenal Football Club. Tracking back, does some amazing defensive work, really does put a shift in on that front, defends really well, gets back really well, he knows where to be, but going forward just looks clumsy. His ball control is appalling, can't really put a good cross in, and looks lost when connecting with those players up top. I don't think there's a good enough understanding between him and the players around him. So Campbell, it was a decent performance from him, but not one that I would hold in too much of a high regard. I'm not too sure how much he's got to offer Arsenal Football Club, but with Chamberlain and Walcott off injured, maybe he can prove me wrong. He could potentially do that if he gets a start in the game against Swansea. I really do hope he performs in that game if he is to play, but it's a big call that Wenger's got to make on that front. So getting into the game itself, Chamberlain picked up a knock about 5 minutes into the game, which seemed to be a hamstring injury or just a tightness in that area of his leg, and I hope he's not going to be out for too long, because with Ramsey out, this is an opportunity that Chamberlain has to be taking. I do worry that if he continues with these persistent little niggles in his game, then he's not going to fulfill the potential that we all know he's got underlying in his ability. So I do hope he's a player that won't be out for too long. And similarly with Theo Walcott, who came on as his substitute, he looks bright when he came on, but again a player that's injured, and the amateur way that he got this injury by not having a warm-up. I mean, I know that players shouldn't necessarily have to be warming up in the first 5 minutes of the game, but to at least not give him a little run out in the sidelines in the build-up to Chamberlain coming off is very amateur, very disappointing and very unprofessional. That's the bottom line of that one really, and Walcott has suffered the consequences of that. So poor management on that behalf, and I believe it was Beneka who came on in place of him. I'm not sure if I've said his name right. Don't know a lot about the guy. He looked very small, very young. Looks like he has to certainly build on his physique, but he didn't really have a lot to offer the game. Looks completely slightly out of place at times, really did fail to fit in with the other players. Made a few good corners, I think. That's about the only thing I can say about him, but really did struggle to get involved. But that's mainly because we weren't having too much joy on the Sheffield Wednesday goal. I can't think of one clear-cut opportunity that we had in this match, apart from the Iwobi one when we were 3-0 down towards the late stages of that second half. But apart from that, nothing. We really didn't penetrate the goal at any point. We didn't penetrate the defence at all, and we didn't cause Sheffield Wednesday any problems whatsoever. One of their most comfortable performances of the season, to be fair to them. They did play really well, but we were shocking on our behalf, so really didn't help ourselves in that essence. They did get their first goal, and it was shocking defending again by Matthew Debussy. The build-up to the goal was quite nice from Wednesday. They played some good football, a lovely lofted ball over to our right flank, and they were bombing down their left-hand side, which was our right. Debussy, very disappointing, again, not to block the cross, didn't close down his man, seemed to jump out of the way of the ball in a sense. The ball came in and it was a really lovely finish. Czech didn't really have much of a chance there. It was a really great goal by Wednesday to put them 1-0 to the good, and then shortly after that they made it 2-0 through Joa, I think that's his name, and again it was awful defending. Chambers and Mertesacker nowhere to be seen. Joa just jumps into the air and it's a great header past Petr Cech, again something that he couldn't really do much about, and 2-0 at that point. The game is effectively over at that point. I really didn't see us coming back because we just looked abysmal. Unlike the game against Reading where we came back and won 7-5, we had a little bit more going for us in that match, whereas in this we just didn't look interested in it whatsoever. We didn't look like we wanted to go out and win that game. We had no interest or intent to do something in this competition. Wednesday was certainly worthy of all 3 goals that they got in this match, and they capped it off with their final one, which was a lovely weighted set piece into the box, and it was just awfully defended from us yet again. Surprise, surprise. No one picking up the bloke on the edge of the box, which was shocking from Arsenal yet again. It relays back to that no leadership thing that we've got. Mertesacker could have been covering the guy, but he wasn't. He's completely left there. He lifts in a lovely first-time volley into the box, which is just put into the back of net by Hutchinson, who was very lucky to actually not see red in this game. He made an awful challenge on Iwobi, which seemed to be absolutely fueled by intent, but he remained on the pitch. A little bit of luck in that sense, but he did well to put the ball into the net to make it 3-0. Game over at that point. We had no real clear-cut chances aside from that one from Iwobi that I mentioned previously, but disappointing on the night, very, very disappointing. In the grand scheme of things, this game shouldn't really mean a lot. We should now focus our energies on the Premier League and getting to the last 16 of the Champions League, but really disappointing. Doesn't fill me with confidence going into the game against Swansea. I think it was important to keep that winning mentality up. Winning breeds confidence, like so many have said in the past, and to lose by this margin to lower league opposition is just... it's ever so slightly, it's slightly humiliating. So on the night, abysmal from Arsenal. To be frank, leave your thoughts on this in the comments box below. I'd love to hear your reaction on this one. Was this a competition that actually meant anything to us, or are you in a way glad that we've exited the Capital One Cup and now can focus our energies on the league? Personally, I think if we had gone all the way in this competition, then it would have given us that extra little boost to go on and win the league, similarly to the way Chelsea did last season. But that's just my take on it. It now gives us an opportunity to rest some players, avoid injury. You would hope, as has evidenced tonight, this competition can tend to pick up knocks to important players. But on the whole, no real positives to take from tonight. Like I say, leave your thoughts in the comments box below. Subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV if you're new. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. And as always, we'll be speaking to you soon.